He's always professional. He always knows when his microphone is on. He's Chris Simms. You did it again during a live look-in. I say, soon as you walk in, they're going to let you know the microphone is on.
I mean, everybody's let me know.
Watch your language.
Everybody lets me know, and I still messed it up. Well, you guys got me, talking to the guys, I started,
I know.
Man, so that was a live look-in.
Yes, it is. That's very live look-in.
Gosh.
It can't be edited.
I'm afraid of some of the people I might have to hear from in NBC now.
Yeah.
This is great.
All right. So, Chris Simms, Pro Football Talk Live, co-host, Bleacher Report NFL analyst, former NFL quarterback. We were just talking about best. Randy Moss says, hands down, he's the best receiver in the history of the game.
Ooh, that's I could say this. I think when he was in his prime, he's in that conversation. I think I would take his prime over Jerry Rice. I will say that.
Okay.
But I still think I would give Jerry Rice the all-time because Jerry, a lot like Tom Brady, it's the overall consistency of greatness that jumps out to me. Yeah, okay, year 3, Jerry Rice might have been the most explosive, but year 13, he was still capable of doing special things. So Randy in his prime, I think, is probably the most gifted receiver we ever saw. But I can't give him the title over Jerry just because of the longevity and consistency.
But explain this to me.
Yeah.
That Brady's the best quarterback of all time.
Well,
correct?
I look at it different ways. He's certainly going to have... He's
the most decorated.
Yes, most decorated, not even close. He's certainly in that conversation. You know who I think the greatest quarterback of all time is?
Your dad.
Definitely not. But I think Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
I think Aaron Rodgers.
But how can you be the best quarterback when you don't have the best resume?
Yes, I know.
You got one Super Bowl.
Right, I get that. But the last time...
What makes him better than Brady?
Well, I mean...
Is it talent? Is what
definitely talent. Aaron Rodgers is the most talented quarterback to ever play the sport, for my money. And I say that really confidently, not only because I've been around so many of these quarterbacks.
Randall Cunningham was so athletic.
I know.
Elway was so athletic.
I get it. But see, this is where I go because guys like my dad and Dan Marino and Boomer Esiason, who I've been around, they go, man, I've never seen anybody like Aaron Rodgers. Because, yes, he's not the fastest, but he's still very fast. I mean, he was second in leading his team in rushing 2 years ago. If he didn't pull his calf muscle, he would have led the team in rushing late in the year. The offense, like I've always told you, it's so basic. It's all about Aaron Rodgers. But when I really break it down, I would just say this. He has the greatest arm in the history of the sport. He's got him and Dan Marino probably the quickest release in the history of the sport. He's incredibly athletic, right? I mean, it's not Steve Young, but it's close to that. And especially his ability to sit in the pocket and jump around. And then we're talking about a guy who plays a game like, backyard football, but never throws interceptions. He's a gunslinger that's like the greatest protector of the ball we've ever seen. So that's where I look at it. It's not a knock on Tom Brady or anybody else. I just look at him. That's why I would really go probably Rodgers, Elway would be my 1-2. And I would probably go Brady 3, Manning 4, and then 5 would be Favre and Marino debate right there. And I'd probably give it to Marino.
Yeah, I think Elway's the best quarterback. I think he, here's a baseball player. He was athletic to run. His arm was as strong as anybody who's ever played.
Right.
He took 3 teams to the Super Bowl that really had no business going to the Super Bowl.
Exactly right.
He got blame, and then he didn't get credit. So when they went with Terrell Davis, he doesn't get credit because it's Terrell Davis and the offensive line.
Different team, right? Yeah.
But then he got blamed because he took bad, teams that were inferior to the NFC, and then they lost Super Bowls.
Totally agree. And it's like the LeBron James conversation. Early, he lost 3 Super Bowls. Like you said, they were teams that weren't Super Bowl caliber teams, but he had the ability to do things physically to get them over the hump, right? And that's the way I look at Aaron Rodgers. It's just his team's not even as good as some of those Broncos teams. His team, like I've been saying for the last 3 years, is a 6-10 football team that he tricks us into every year, and we go, I think they're the Super Bowl favorite.
How are the Patriots the favorites this year?
Because gosh, there's so many reasons. I mean, Bill Belichick, that's the first reason.
But look at the roster.
I know it's not
the defense got torched.
Yes, the defense was horrible last year. It really was. So, yeah, they've made some improvements. They did have injuries. They're not the most talented team in the AFC. Really, a lot of the times they've gone to the Super Bowl those years, they haven't been the most talented team, but they're the most well-coached. They're the most detailed. They execute the best. And then they have a quarterback who is like an extension of the coaching staff, still has a big-time arm, and his ability to execute in the clutch is as good as anybody we've ever seen in the sport.
Okay, but Brady's turning 41 today.
Right.
it's going to come crashing down at some point, you'd think.
Yeah.
Maybe he survives, he has a great year. I thought if he won the Super Bowl, this past Super Bowl, he's going to retire.
I get you.
So he comes back. What is going to be the fall off? Like, what will happen where we go, Brady's not, he's the leading candidate for MVP this year.
I know, and I understand that completely. I think what you'll see more than anything is going to be jumpiness in the pocket. Right. That's where I think you're going to start to go, oh, he's getting old. He's going to start feeling like seeing ghosts, like, oh, ducking into the pocket and like nobody's really there to hit him, but he's getting old and he's worried about protecting his body. That's when I think you can start to look at it and go, ooh, things are falling off. Like his arm is not going to fall off. This is with the greatness of Brady. He corrected his throwing motion from 2010, 11, 12. And now has made himself more of a power thrower again to where he can throw the 100-mile-per-hour fastball. So I don't think any of that. I think it's all going to be about physical protection of the body. Is he willing to stand in there? And I think when he starts to get sick of that or get old, you're going to see him go down in the pocket for no reason. People, maybe just an arm on him. He's going to go, oh, I'm going to go down. Those are the little things I would look for.
He's Chris Simms, Pro Football Talk Live co-host with Mike Florio joining us here in the Man Cave. What do you take from the preseason game last night? That's going to matter, bigger picture.
Okay, yeah. Not a whole lot. I look at games like that. I just want to look at some individual players, young guys, free agents. I want to go, let me just look at them. The first thing I would look at is both teams have great potential this year. They really do. I think Baltimore's in the hunt for one of the best teams in the AFC when all's said and done. Chicago's one of those teams in the NFC that's going to surprise people. I like Chicago
a lot more than I should, I think.
Well, but I get it because the defense has been good the last few years. They keep Vic Fangio. Matt Nagy comes in. We know he's creative. They signed weapons. I think Trubisky has a lot of potential. The O-line's good. They've been able to run the ball. Now they have some people to scare you with the pass. But I just look at players more than anything. I'll tell you who jumped off to me more than anybody last night, RG3. I haven't been a big fan of RG3 and the way he acts and carries himself, especially going back to the Redskins days. But I can't deny that last night he looked good. He threw a lot of good balls, made some good decisions. Threw the interception. The guy should have caught it, right? It went right through his hands. And then, of course, Lamar Jackson was the reason I was most tuned into the game.
But he acted like a rookie should.
He did, right. We've all lost, reality with what rookies used to look like because of guys like Andrew Luck,
Cam Newton,
right, who've come in and just set the world on fire. This is an extremely raw player, but you could see he could sling it. He has a very natural motion. He can adjust his arm angles. His speed is legit, but I was worried last night he was going to try to prove I'm Johnny Pocket quarterback. Look at what I've been doing in the NFL. And he actually did the opposite.
Oh, I know.
Where he dropped back and was like, that guy's not open. I'm going to show everybody how fast I am.
And you'll know this better than anybody, but what I watched is I wanted to see if he went through progression.
Yes.
And he didn't.
He did not.
He was like, I'm locked into that guy, not open, I'm running.
Exactly right.
And that's what happens, I think, with younger quarterbacks.
It definitely does. It's one or the other. Or you do the Marcus Mariota where his first year where I would watch film and I'd go, run, you're going to run for 70 yards. But somebody was telling him every day, stay in the pocket, go through your reads. So he's trying to impress his coaches and impress the public that I'm a pocket passer. So he'll find the right balance just like Mariota has, and they'll go from there. But I still think he's got tremendous potential.
Yeah, we want to see him because we don't want to see any more of Joe Flacco.
Yeah,
it feels like, all right, we've seen this.
Yeah.
That's the old story. Let's bring in Lamar Jackson. He's going to spice it up there with the Ravens.
Yep.
Also with these first rookie quarterback who is going to play.
I think Sam Darnold and Josh Allen will start for their teams.
Josh Allen will start.
I do. I think so. When all's said and done, I just think that there's going to be some rawness there, but I think when they just see him out in the field every day next to A.J. McCarron, they go, damn, you're bigger than him. Damn, you throw, and our jaws drop every day with some of the throws you make. You're so athletic. And I think they'll manage him and start him at week one. I really do.
Yeah, I thought Rosen might be the guy to get the start.
I know. Rosen's the most ready. Like, he could go in and execute a real NFL offense, and I don't think have to be as managed as much as maybe the other guys.
Yeah.
But they do have Sam Bradford. They're going to take it slow. I can't imagine Arizona being very good. I really can't. I look at their roster and go, oh, it's down towards the bottom of football. And I'd say by week 4 or 5, we see Josh Rosen in there.
Worst team in football is who?
I think they're in that conversation.
Arizona?
Yeah, I do. I look at it like, what do you hang your hat on? The 36-year-old receiver? Larry Fitzgerald, first ballot Hall of Famer. He's the man, but he's not going to catch a slant and take it 70 yards. It's all about David Johnson. Yeah, right? So it's David Johnson. It's a quarterback that's been injured a lot through his career. The defense lost Honey Badger. Chandler Jones, sure, he's great. Marcus Golden's coming off an ACL injury. Patrick Peterson's getting up there in age. There's just not a lot of substance to that team. I would probably pick them as the worst team.
We also had a conversation.
The Colts, maybe,
The Colts?
Yeah, Colts are up there. I mean, as far as the roster, Chris Ballard's just getting his hands on that roster.
But you think the Colts are going to be bad?
I don't think they're going to be as bad as what their team maybe is, and as far as the rebuilding, because Andrew Luck, I do think, looks like he's going in the right direction, and he can cover a whole lot of holes.
Best defensive back of all time, modern era.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
We had this discussion the other day.
Yeah.
My answer will surprise you, but give me the best defensive back in the modern era.
Deion Sanders is the guy I go with.
Okay.
He would be my number one. You want to hear my other ones?
Sure.
I would go Deion 1. I would go Darrelle Revis 2.
Okay.
And then I would go probably Darryl Green 3.
All right.
That would be my 3. Yeah.
Mine is Ed Reed.
Oh, okay. You're going safety too. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Best defensive back.
Best defensive back.
I think Ed Reed's the best defensive back that I've ever seen.
He was scary. I only played against him once.
Did he pick you off?
Yes. He did. Ed's one of those guys too, because he had such great freedom and instincts. He'd be just lurking back there and he'd be looking at you and you'd be like, it looks like they're going to play cover 2. They are playing cover 2, but what the hell's Ed Reed doing? So he just would jump plays and use his instincts.
But it felt like you had to account for Ed more than you did Ray Lewis.
Yes. I mean, he was the guy that scared me. Ray was more of the physical intimidator where, my experience playing Ray in that same game, Ray's not only just physically elite as far as like taking people on in the hole and making big hits, but his mental game. There was a few times in that game where I was getting ready to say Set Hut, and he's like, they're running right there. And I was like, Set Hut? Here you go, Michael Pittman. Have fun.
Ray's there.
Yeah.
Ray, Michael,
here you go,
Michael.
Cadillac. Yeah, here you go. See ya. So that's where Ray really jumped off to me. His leadership, his just brute physicality, and then his mental game was on point.
But who hits you and then... It feels like Ray would probably hit you and then make noises when he hit you.
Yes.
Or he would say something.
He's going to talk or say something.
Oh, he
certainly.
would.
Well, I felt like he sang the whole game I played against him. He was singing like his first game of the year. It's football time. He was singing
on the field.
On the field. He was the loosest guy in the field. That's how you know. That's when you know that the best player in the field is. It's the guy that's the most relaxed, that's always smiling, right? It's why you look at Cam Newton and Aaron Rodgers sometimes on Sunday and you're like, man, they're smiling a lot. Yeah, because they're not worried about anything in the world. They know they're the man out there and they're not intimidated or scared about anything of the game.
We see this every year where there's 2, 3, 4 teams who move up.
Yep.
2, 3, 4 teams who move down.
Right.
Give me your teams that move up this year.
Yeah, I think the Bears, like we talked about, are one of those teams I look at. The NFC in general is brutal. Okay, I think we all know that, right? That's been I've heard it. I feel like in a lot of different places. The Giants would be another team. They were 3-13 last year. I'd go watch out for the Giants. Let's not forget they had one of the best defenses in football 2 years ago. The coaching staff and everything that went along with McAdoo last year was a disaster. They became dysfunctional. I think their roster is better than 3-13.
They're a dark horse Super Bowl team for me.
They're scary. I agree. Their offense could be the most explosive offense in the sport. And then their defense has a lot of things you like.
Yeah, the defense should be good.
It should be good. Corner's probably a question because of Eli Apple and his shenanigans last year. But yeah, they're one team I look at. Who's
going to disappoint us this year?
I think I don't know who I would say was going to disappoint you the most. I look at like this. I'll say this. Jacksonville Jaguars are the best team in the sport. Again, they're the best 53-man roster. My thoughts about the quarterback, so that knocks them down a little bit. But I do.
Have you ever talked to Blake Bortles face to face?
No, I have before. Before I said what I said last year.
Welcome in Blake Bortles here to the program.
I know that's what stinks about it because I know Blake's such a good guy and I don't want it to be personal. But it
feels personal.
I know it's really not. It's really.
But you said that the 70th best.
I did
the 70th best quarterback.
Yeah. People think that's crazy, and I understand. They go, well, they went to the AFC Championship game, and this is one of the best defenses we've seen in modern history. Talent-wise, it is phenomenal. It's not as crazy as everybody thinks sometimes for a bad quarterback to take a good team. What jersey is our man wearing out there today?
Oh, Fritzy's got Tebow.
Oh, right. Tebow. You mean the guy who went to the Final 8 and then wasn't in the league next year? So people act like, again, I'll go to the 2015. The team that won the Super Bowl had the worst quarterback in the sport. The 34th rated quarterback was Peyton Manning with 9 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. If more quarterbacks played that year, he would have been lower. He would have been in the 50s. They won the Super Bowl with the 50th something best quarterback that year. It's not a knock on Peyton Manning. He's the man. I get that. But that year, that's what he was. So it's not personal against Bortles. Bortles, they have to play a game to manage Bortles. And what I worry about with Jacksonville is you see the way they play, low scoring, physical type games where they got to open up week 1 at the New York Giants. The Giants can play that kind of game with them. They're going to be like, well, we're not physically intimidated, but we got a lot of big guys over here too. And then week 2 is New England Patriots. Week 3 is the Tennessee Titans. So even though they're the most talented team, the way they play, I could see them this year fighting to get into the playoffs. 9-7, 10-6, just getting in and then being dangerous. I know that's maybe not the answer you were quite looking for there.
I think San Francisco, people are selling them high.
Way too high. That's my buddy Kyle Shanahan, but I think people are crazy saying they're like Super Bowl odds are up there.
Like 9 wins, I think is their over-under.
I think they are definitely overrated, certainly.
How do the Rams, because the Rams, it feels like they're all in.
Yeah.
Now, they got to get Darnold in.
Yeah.
But let's say they got everybody.
Right. How
great can the Rams be?
Yeah, their roster is, of course, I would say second in football, right after Jacksonville. I think if you just look at the complete roster, it's always interesting when you have to balance personalities. I'm not even going to worry about it out there because the 2 guys out there, McVay is an amazing social skills, personable guy. He's going to be able to do it. And then Wade Phillips on the defensive side, this is what he's famous for, is blending personalities together. He's a personality himself. So I think that works, and I do think they're going to be a dangerous football team, certainly. And in the Super Bowl conversation, not my number 1 in the NFC, though.
Who's that?
The Saints. I'm picking the Saints to go to the Super Bowl in the NFC this year. I really am. I think with that O-line, Drew Brees still playing good, that offense with Sean Payton, and that defense has some things that I like about it. I would say watch out for the Saints this year. They're my NFC Super Bowl pick.
AFC?
This is where the AFC is. I mean, of course, I want to say New England. I mean, New England is the team I look at. New England and Pittsburgh are certainly 2 teams I look at. If I had to do like a dark horse team, I don't even know if it's a dark horse anymore. The Chargers are a team that I would have said, I know. The injuries hurt, but I think, the Chargers, the Ravens, they were 2 teams I looked at last year where I said, ooh, if they sneak into the AFC playoffs, they can give the Patriots a tough time, both of those teams.
I'm with you on the Chargers. Yeah. But Hunter Henry going down.
I know.
And Verrett going down.
Yeah, that hurts because Verrett's special man-to-man corner. We know how much they love the tight end and Phillip Rivers in that offense. So those are things, that certainly concern me.
If those guys were playing, those guys are healthy, I could see San Diego as a dark horse. I really do.
I could too. I think they can escape the Verrett injury. I do think that they play a Seattle defense, right? The Seattle scheme, Gus Bradley's there, so it's not a ton of man-to-man.
Hunter Henry hurts.
Yeah,
right. Because Gates coming back is not.
It's not the Gates we used to know. Right?
Is Phillip Rivers Hall of Famer?
I would say no. I would say he's an NFL legend. But at this point, I would say no. Everyone's going to look at the stats and do that. Everybody's stats are going to be great for this era.
Stafford's stats are going to be incredible when he's done.
They're all. There's going to be so many quarterbacks from this era because of the rules, because of just the explosion of offensive ideas and schematics. The numbers are going to be off the charts. But I don't think I see Phillip Rivers as a Hall of Famer. I think he's an NFL legend. If he can have a run here of maybe winning a Super Bowl, getting to AFC Championship games, maybe that can change my mind, but I think he's on the borderline kind of outside looking in right now.
Can Garoppolo be introduced as 2-time Super Bowl winning quarterback?
No.
He cannot.
No.
Is your dad introduced as a 2-time Super Bowl winning quarterback?
I think sometimes people say that, but I don't think he thinks that.
Rings.
He has 2 rings. I think he's really appreciative of what Jeff Hostetler did to get him that 2nd ring. And yes, he has 2 rings that he's very proud of, but I don't think he considers himself 2-time Super Bowl winner. No, not when he was sitting on the sideline with crutches. So,
does he wear that 2nd Super Bowl ring?
He doesn't wear either one, really. I mean, he's Mr. Humble guy all the time. I'm usually the one that wants to go break them out and show them off every now and then. And I'm like, let me go. I want to show you these. Let me, if I have a friend over, because that's usually what friends ask for too. I've never seen a Super Bowl ring, and if I'm at Dad's house, I'm like, oh, come on, I'll show you one real quick. Yeah. I mean, he's proud of them. But
you ever take him to school?
No. Oh, when I was younger, I think I did take him to school.
Show and tell?
I did a little show and tell action. Right. Yes, I did.
Never wear it on a date?
No, I did not.
No, you didn't need that?
No, I didn't need that.
No.
Come on, who needs that?
Yeah, with that. Yeah. But, Texas was paying you so well, so you always had money to go on dates, right?
Well, Phil Simms was paying me so well.
Oh, Phil Simms was paying you.
Yep, Phil. Yep.
I'll leave you with this.
Yep.
The helmet rule, what are we going to say about the helmet rule at the end of the season?
That it's good for the game, but it's very annoying in how much it's officiated. Like, I just don't want it to go overboard, and I think it's going to go over. But I heard you on the last segment talking about, like, I think early on they're going to kind of set that bar to go, like, don't cross it. This is where it is. Like, if you do anything close to it, we're going to call it.
But intent is really hard to call.
Exactly. But it was why I'm scared of it, and I do think we might see more penalties than we'd like, and that's annoying. I just want the hits that, like Danny Trevathan did to Devontae Adams last year. That needs to be out of the game.
He should have been suspended for that.
Right, and I think he ended up getting suspended for a game or two. Right. Those are the ones that have to go. That's just like piling it on. No need to just launch yourself into somebody's head. Other than that, man, please, NFL, don't go crazy with this rule. I still want to see, like, physicality and toughness is the number one thing in the sport.
By the way, who hit you when you got hurt?
Thomas Davis and Chris Jenkins.
They both hit you.
Chris, 23Z in. I'm going to throw a curl to the left. And
Paulie, bring out Thomas Davis.
Yep. Good old Thomas Davis. Yeah. So I had a curl. I was about to throw it. Somebody flashed in front of it. And then I felt the pocket collapsing. And then I see Thomas Davis running at me. I'm going to throw the ball out of bounds. And as I cocked my arm to throw it, Chris Jenkins hit me from behind. And I couldn't get out of the way of Thomas Davis. And he put his head right in my, sternum.
Your spleen?
My spleen, which is no longer. Yes.
Where is your spleen?
Right, like.
No, where is it? They took it out.
Oh, yeah, I guess they threw it in the trash. I don't know.
Well, you didn't get to keep it?
No, I know. It kind of would have been kind of cool, right? Yeah, put it in a jar.
Let your kids take that for show and tell.
But, they went in laparoscopically, and because they thought they were going to maybe repair it. But from what I was told, that it was totally mangled, and they had to remove it. So, because I must have formed a hematoma. I kept playing. And I took some big shots in the game. It was the Carolina Panthers back in that day with Julius Peppers and company. And we weren't playing well early in the year. So I was like, man, I'm not letting this backup quarterback in here. The hell with that.
Oh, man.
And, of course, that made it worse for me.
Did you lose consciousness?
I called a play on a hard 2. And Dan Benning, my left guard.
What do you mean hard 2?
Like I was going to get the defense off sides because I was sick of Julius Peppers.
Getting a great jump. Hard 2.
So I'm like, Blue 85, Blue 85 said, hot. Right? That's a good hard 2, right?
All right, hard 2.
So as I'm doing this, the curtains are going down. I'm going Blue 85, and I'm going, what the hell? The defense is becoming a black curtain. And I start to say it, and thank God our left guard jumped offside. I did a good job of inflecting my voice, and he jumped offside. I had a handoff to the left to Cadillac Williams, and I had to take a knee because I just blacked out. I went in and got an IV, and I came back out and played and thought I led us on the game-winning drive in the fourth quarter, and then they kicked a 59-yard field goal to beat us.
But you blacked out.
Blacked out. Yes. Yeah. Stupid meathead from Jersey. I should have thrown in the towel long before that.
We'll throw in the towel in this interview.
Thanks. I'm disappointed.
Just watch your language. You got to be professional.
I know.
I thought you were coachable.
I am. I'm working on it. I just like you guys too much. That's the problem.
All right. Thank you, Chris. Great to see you, bud.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.